We're now going to have a look at a few more obscure uses of GIS, which are still nevertheless very valuable to us. Take a look at this example of simplifying a problem. What we were doing here was an exercise where we were exchanging data with the fire service on position of fire hydrants. They've got a definitive list of fire hydrants. In this case, this is the Durham Fire Service, and we have as well. And we compared data, we did it in a spreadsheet, and it all got a bit messy because there's about 10,000 rows, and you can't really see. What we really wanted to be able to do is, when somebody from the fire service calls us to discuss a problem with a hydrant or some kind of information about the hydrant, we're talking about the same hydrant. And the coordinates don't necessarily match exactly, so you don't necessarily know you're talking about the same hydrant. This licorice all-sort plot actually tells a completely different story. So the yellow dots are the fire brigade's data, their positions, the black dots are ours, and the blues and the reds are different kinds of ending where we've called something, not necessarily, it might be a flushing point, but the fire brigade treat it as a hydrant. So there's even that terminology and the attribute information associated with ours, which might cause it not to match. And as you can see, there's a bit of mismatch there. The dot may not necessarily be right in the centre of the fire brigade's dot. So what we did was, we ran some algorithms on them and set a tolerance and said that any that were within a certain range of each other, providing there was a one match and not two within very close proximity, we'd just associate the fire brigade's reference for that fire hydrant with our fire hydrant and say that it's a match. As good as we can tell, it's a match. And they did the same thing. Our website has a section called In Your Area, where customers can enter a postcode and see whether there are any works planned or in progress within a certain radius of that postcode. This is taking GIS data from the heart of our corporate systems and sharing it with the customers in a very public way. This is one of my favourites. This is a plot of Abberton Reservoir. During our work on our Abberton Reservoir in Essex, which is part of the Essex Wildlife Trust, we use GIS to plot and track the changes in the movements of certain species of duck. Regular sightings and counts of the ducks were recorded by the rangers and plotted using a series of concentric circles and colours to show the changes in any movements over a period of time. This provided valuable information to our conservation team. Northumbrian Water are very concerned that our work did not interfere with the wildlife. And this last screen is an example of what we know as the sewer trace function. So what we can do here is show which sewers feed into which treatment works, which are interconnected, where are things flowing. So the point here is that the sewers and mains on our GRS system are not just a series of lines drawn on top of the map. They're interrelated. There's a relationship between them. We can show flow and direction on those. So network analysts, and they can do this on both the sewerage side and the water side, can bring up the dialog box for network trace or sewer trace, define whether they want to look upstream or downstream. Here we've started a treatment works and gone backwards. All the lines you can see here, the reds and the blues and the browns, are different kinds of sewer, and the yellows are the ones that are flowing into that treatment work. So the others will be flowing in via a different route. I hope that's given you an insight into just a few areas where we have used GIS to cut cost and improve efficiency and provide information in a much more useful and palatable way. This allows us to be more proactive and meet the needs of our customers better. And I too am going to dash off after this, but I'm more than happy to take any questions. Yes?
Clive, are there any cost benefits in terms of return on investment on this type of data?
Yeah, I'm sure there are all sorts, and I probably should have pointed those out as we went along in the presentation. A lot of these things aren't necessarily obvious cost-cutting, cost-saving exercises there, where we're adding more value, or we're just changing the way we work to be more efficient and provide information quicker than we could have done before, which obviously is probably showing back to more value.
You mentioned on the you share with other utilities companies to try and understand where their communicating works to try and say the road being dug up on more than one occasion, or is the unit, the local authority, the person who does the coordination?
That's is done via another system for which I'm responsible, which is a streetwork system. Excel we use. There's a variety. The local authorities, well, we have to have permission to dig the road up. We have to give notice, and we have to make sure that we refill and repair the road within a certain amount of time. That's all dealt with through Excel. However, all of those works are visible in our GIS system. The other point was coordination schedule.
The other utilities companies, do
Oh,
they
the
do the same
utilities.
thing?
Yeah, well, gas and electric maps really important to us. Obviously, when we're digging, you don't want to be hitting electric and gas pipes, and that is an area what we're working on at the moment. So the answer is, what we'd like to be able to do is our field force. Some of them have a laptop with GIS on, mobile GIS, where they can see all of our underground maps, and they will have some form of gas and electric information either provided on a CD, but not overlain yet on our GIS. That's an area we would like to go to. What we really want to do is 800 of our field staff have got a PDA, personal digital assistant. We can send down a PDF or a GeoPDF to them, and all their job information gets sent down where they can raise jobs in the field if they spot something untoward. What we really want to do is send them a plot of the area they're working on with overlaying on it gas and electric maps. But we're not there. We've got quite a lot of talking, but it is quite high on the agenda. It's being talked about within Northumbrian Water about how we can do that. There's all sorts of problems with the utilities and making sure that the registration is correct. And different utilities. There are lots of utilities involved as well. We're not just talking about one or two for this region. There are quite a few. Any other? Yeah.
Thanks for the presentation. My question is, do you have 3D visualization or interactive component of the system? If not, I would like to ask your comments whether it will be beneficial to the program.
We've got height and depth information, so associated with mains and sewers, there will be a depth, and our manhole, we do manhole surveys, so we have invert levels of mains. All of the 3D modelling of the network is done outside of GIS. So we take the model of either the water network or the sewer and then put it into a proprietary modelling tool which is specifically designed to do all of that, to do the modelling functionality. And we use that in situations where a developer is introducing 250 new homes in an area. We want to know whether the networks are going to cope with the demand. So we'll use those modelling tools. As far as 3D modelling, some areas, not the whole area, but some we have LiDAR information, so very, very accurate height information. We've just started looking at what's known as rolling ball methodology, where we're looking at surface water runoff. So you want to see what will happen as water runs over the surface. I don't know a great deal about it, but I do know, we're starting to get involved in that. As far as 3D visualisation, nobody's asking for it. Nobody within the organisation is saying, we must be able to see the terrain in 3D. Apart from these modelling guys who've already got what they need in terms of just the pipes themselves and which way they're tilting. Any other questions? Yeah.
Have you kind of ordnance survey, positional accuracy improvement? Have you
Yes.
been through that?
Yes.
How did you deal with it automatically?
Well, it was before my time actually. I've only been with Northumbrian Water 5 years and only managing this team for 2.5 years, so it all happened before my time, but apparently it was quite a painful process. my predecessors and my team tell me. I'll tell you more, I'm afraid. Any other questions?
Have you done any integration kind of between central GIS and when you're talking about PDAs? Have you done any work, and I'm thinking about protocols like WMS, WFS, for actually kind of being able to integrate your central GIS data with typically field systems, but without kind of having the vendor lock-in?
Without having the...
There's either the vendor lock-in, it's all not necessarily stuck with the same.
Well,
field system.
we aren't sending information direct from our GIS system down to the PDAs. We do have a field force of 200 laptops, but that's a snapshot. I've been to the fire brigade. I've seen what the fire brigade do with their tablets. They have a mobile GIS which they can redline. Fire station within proximity. It trickle feeds the changes that have been made to the core GIS and uploads their redlining to be